I guess I'll say that's my argument to the commission is, if we're treating one over here like this, we ought to treat it over here in the dispensaries the same kind of way. Because it seems like it'd be a lot harder to have the people here. They've already gone through the lottery. They've already done all this. And then we're trying to, we're all, I feel like it comes to it from the point of, are they good enough? Which is different from the cultivation facilities, which is, are they the best? And that's I think the difference, at least in my mind.
And I agree with you. I feel like if we have consistency, we're doing one thing over here, one thing over here. It's a lot smoother if we have some sort of consistency.
Do you have any numbers on the states that have done dispensaries with cultivations and how people choose?
I don't know of any that give you that option to grow or not grow.
I saw it somewhere. I just don't.
We don't have any numbers with regard to any other states that have that sort of a tiered system to be able to tell you where you have cultivators and dispensers that can also cultivate about this many do it. We don't have that information, but we do know that there aren't a lot of other states that have similar limitations as far as the overall numbers.
So there are definitely states that have two different systems where you can either be a cultivator or you can be a dispensary that also has growing capabilities. That's how most of the systems are. I don't know that they have that same, as Joel mentioned, 50 mature plant limitation. I think if you're a dispensary and you're licensed to go, you probably can.
I've seen some financial breakdown, just trying to bone up on the business aspects of it. So they do, I've seen financial piles that categorize them into pure cultivators, the growers, dispensary cultivators, and just pure dispensaries. It seemed like the profit margin was a little better when they were allowed to grow plants. I wouldn't say it wasn't out the, it wasn't huge, but there was a larger profit for the dispensary to do so. So I see the desire for them to do so, and I've got no problem with it per se, but on our initial launch, even.
Yeah, well, in our rules and regulation, we have them set up differently. They're being charged a different license fee, which they're required to pay a different.
And it should be. I mean, it's different. It's different. And to me, we can just give you more people a lower financial threshold to get involved in a pure dispensary than anything else. And that gives more opportunity for more.
We've done that.
More people, and I think that's a right.
I think we have
done
that.
So I guess my concern comes in when you have a merit-based system and you've got two different entities. You've got a straight dispensary and you've got a dispensary that cultivates. And going back to what OSP talks about is you've got to grade those people on the same scale because they're vying for the same permit, but one of them has a large section of criteria and merit that the other one doesn't. So we've got to I'd just like discussion on that to understand.
So do you want to discourage cultivation in dispensary or discourage it?
Well, I'm saying as we go down the road to a rubric, you have some that are going to have a scoring system. Those that cultivate will have a portion of scoring that those that are purely a dispensary will not.
And I have just a kind of a hypothetical here, and I just kind of want to throw it out here for thought. So if you're doing dispensaries, and you guys have decided upon these zones with limited facilities within the zone, so let's look at zone 2. It might be that you are discouraging those pure just dispensaries, because if you're doing this strictly by merit and you get applications in, I would think it's conceivable that you might have more people with experience in cultivating and knowledge of how the plant grows and all that. Is it possible that their application might not look more complete or better to you than someone that says, we just want to be a pure storefront dispensary. That's all we're looking for here. Is that going to weigh more in the favor of a cultivating dispensary as opposed to a dispensary? I mean, you've only got 2 to distribute in that whole region. Whereas if you do a lottery, it may very well be that the top 2 numbers are cultivating dispensaries. It may be that they are just pure dispensaries. So there's no unfair advantage, per se, of somebody having a thicker application with more information. We've got this scientist on board because we have to, we're growing plants, versus we worked in a dispensary before in this state and we were really successful.
I think that's the question at hand.
That's
Do
a
you-
great point. And let me just put one, not that we can even do this, but conceptually to that. If I was just me writing these rules and I was the king of things, you know, I would look at it and this is a question that I think we as a commission need to look at. I would look at if we had the cultivators and we let all the dispensaries start off with no cultivation. And after the market matures and we see where it is, then any dispensary could then later apply to grow up to 50 plants. I know we can't do that, but that would it would be a cleaner start. Then you could totally do the lottery thing where all the dispensaries would come in without, would address that problem. And after 2 years, then if a dispensary wanted to apply to cultivate the plants, when we know the market's mature, then you could look at those applications separately, but they've already established their business. And then you didn't discourage, like you're saying, you may get better applications because the cultivators are gonna be,
They may be
they're
more
gonna be more
substantial
advanced, and
because
you
you're
might
requiring more.
move some smaller players out of the market. That if there was a delay on that, a few years where they all came in applying for dispensary on an equal footing, being we're all just going to be dispensaries, the commission will look at adding cultivation to their license in 2 years or something
I
along
don't
those lines.
think that we can do that.
I don't think we can.
You can't- you
I
cannot
mean,
do
it's,
that.
I don't think we can do that,
We couldn't, yeah.
based on the amendment.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
But nobody gave us the power to rewrite.
Yeah, but that would kind of solve our, because it does throw a wrench in our being consistent. I think there's a balance once you're gonna cultivate, they have to be able to
But it's
say.
nothing wrong with having 3 different systems.
No, not at all.
Because you got 3 different, you know, I agree, I don't like it all grouped, the dispensaries all grouped as one. Because